everyone, it's Josh here. So it's been a while, right? And I got a lot of updating to do. Lots happened in the last 45 days. So let's get to it. I last left off with my I Quit video, which in part was me closing out the chapter of a job that I ended up hating. And I quit. But through processing all those feelings and emotions and speaking to God, I realized a lot of things about myself. And I'm grateful for those lessons. Took a couple weeks off, started a new job. At this point, I've waited to talk about this because the fact of the matter is they have a 30-day probation period, and you never know. I might not have made the cut, right? But ends up I did. So I'm officially an employee, and now I can celebrate that with you guys a little bit. I'm back in the world of building stuff with my hands, and I absolutely love it. I'm so happy. I don't know what their policies are, so I'm not going to get into a lot of detail or whatever. But essentially, I'm building the tank beds and the fire hose beds, which is all one big unit, for pumper fire trucks. They're pretty big truck beds, I guess, for a simplistic description. That's pretty much what they are. It's a big truck bed. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Great atmosphere, great co-workers. I mean, where I came from before, there was some great people there, some really great people, but there was some really toxic people there, and one individual who just ran around and shit on everybody. And there wasn't one person in that company he didn't say any, at one point or another, what a dumb motherfucker they were, what a piece of shit they were. Every day he would just come back and complain about every last single person in that company to me and anybody else that would listen. And he really is just a miserable fuck, and I don't miss it. I do not miss it. You have no idea how happy you can be when you remove toxic people from your life until you do. My new coworkers are great. There's no negative gossip. There's no toxic anything. It's nice to just go hang out with people you enjoy being around when you're earning a paycheck. And honestly, as overly dramatic or overly sentimental as it may sound, I'm happy that I'm doing something that's for the betterment of mankind. People need fire trucks, and I do this one portion of that, and that helps. That's equipment that's out in the field every day, helping to save people's lives, save people's homes, helping make America great, or better, rather, a better place to live. So I enjoy that, man, and I take pride in that, and they do too, and it's just a great place to work. It's good to work for a company that appreciates you, genuinely appreciates you, and you don't have to deal with any bullshit. And I'm grateful for the other place, man. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about patience and who I don't want to be, and who I don't want, what types of people I don't want in my life. It's not this, I don't want to, there were some really great people there too who are also victims of that negative scumbag. But at the end of the day, man, they're all still there suffering through it. And I just made the choice not to anymore. And that's been such a huge sigh of relief. And it's brought so much joy to my life. And the odd thing was I don't make decisions like that easily. And my good friend Alec, who I've known for 20 years, that works at the new company, had kind of been on me for like a month before I even made the decision to even go in and check out the new place. And if you've watched any of my reels on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, I talked recently about God being a sledgehammer. I got a thick ass head. Sometimes God's got to send the sledgehammer to bust through a good message, and I'm so glad that he sent Alec to Alec just stayed on me, touching base every few days, and it was like, hey man, you really got to come check this out. And little tap 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 don't work. I need the sledgehammer to just pound it in there. I finally did, man, and I gotta thank Alec for that, because this new job's just a huge blessing. I'm so grateful for it. I love working with my hands, and I'm living in my gift, and that feels good. I was worried. I didn't know if I'd make it, which is why I haven't made any videos for a while, at least on this. Second day in, I was walking through the shop, and I walked past a piece of 1/4-inch plate that had just been sheared, and literally just came around the corner and swung my leg a little too hard and hit it, and cut my leg real good. So if you don't follow me on Facebook, Instagram, etc., you probably don't know this, but yeah, I cut my leg about 7-8 inches wide, an inch deep, and on my second day, so I didn't know if I was going to make that 30-day probationary period. I kind of was a little worried that they didn't hire dumbasses, and that was a pretty dumbass thing to do. And the metal was so sharp, I didn't even realize I'd cut myself. I'd walked 10 or 15 feet before I even knew anything had happened. I mean, I knew I bumped it, but I didn't know that it cut me. And so I'll give you the quick story. I bumped it, and I walked 10 or 15 feet, and then I took a step down, and we're inside a big warehouse, basically, and I step in my shoe, and my foot gets wet. And, instinctually, I'm trying to figure out how I stepped in a water puddle inside this warehouse, and then I look down, and my entire sock is covered in blood. My brand new steel-toed boots that I'd only worn for 2 days are filled with blood, and my leg is leaking like a sieve. And it's on the back side of my calf, so I really can't see it. And I just walk over to I don't freak out about these kinds of things. I walk over to the medicine cabinet or first aid kit, and I just start packing it full of gauze and wrapping it up. And like I said, I can't see the cut, so I'm like, it's no big deal. Everybody else who can see reality, which is, there's a lesson there, right? I could only see this much, and I thought everything was okay. And everybody around me saw what reality was. And I stubbornly and pridefully wasn't listening to what they were saying. I was like, it's no big deal. I'll fix it when I get home. And I just want to finish out my shift. I was so embarrassed, right? And I felt like such a dumbass. And they're all freaking out, and they forced me to go to the hospital. And I'm like, all right, I'll drive myself to the hospital, if that's what I have to do. And they have someone drive me, and I'm like, you guys really are making a huge deal over this for nothing. It's no big deal. And again, like I said, I could only see this much of the problem. They saw the whole picture. And I was being so stubborn and prideful, I just wasn't listening and embarrassed. But we get to the hospital, and I tell the nurse, I'm like, listen, this is my second day on the job. I do not want to get fired. Can you please tell them they're overreacting and send me back to work so I can finish off my shift, because I'm really, really worried about this. And she's like, oh, okay, I understand. No big deal. I'll get you cleaned up real quick, and we'll get you back to work. And well, she pulls the bandage off, and her eyes get this big, and she's like, you're not going back to work. You're going to the ER right now. And I'm like, is it really that bad? There was zero pain for me. Zero pain. And the only way I could see it was I had to take a picture of it from my cell phone. So I take a picture of it, and I look at it, and I go, oh, I guess maybe I do need to go to the ER, don't I? You know? The lesson there is I should have slowed down and been a little less prideful and a little more willing to listen to those around me that were trying to take care of me. I realized later. In the moment, not so much. But so she orders a wheelchair, and I'm like, listen, again, being prideful, I'm like, listen, I'm not getting in a wheelchair. And she's mid-60s, little old thing, maybe 80, 90 pounds. I'm like, ma'am, you're not pushing my big ass down the hallways in a wheelchair. I'll walk, it's fine. And she kind of lost patience with me, and she said, listen, you're getting in that wheelchair, and I'm going to push you down there. That's the end of it. And I just, yes, ma'am. And I let her push me down to the ER. Of course, as she's pushing me, people are looking, because my leg's still bleeding through the bandages and everything pretty good. And every time somebody'd look at me, I'd look back at her, and I'd say, see, they're judging me. I told you not to push me. I did that 2 or 3 times. We had a good laugh about it, but they stitched me up. It was a great thing. Sent me home. Went to work the next day. Worked half a shift. Had a great time. Nobody could believe that I showed up, but it is what it is. It's just stitches, man. I'd end up getting 2 internal and 16 external. And I was already scheduled to work half a day and leave for War in the Woods, and that's what I did. I worked my half a shift that I was scheduled to work, and left directly from there and went to Brown County, Indiana for War in the Woods, and had a great time with everybody that weekend. My leg was sore a little bit, but I suffered through it. Wasn't allowed to do any exercise for 2 to 3 weeks because of the stitches from the waist down, so that sucked. No intense cardio, which I really enjoy. But I followed the doctor's directions. I didn't want to rip it open. She was so worried that because it was so deep that if I ripped it back open, they wouldn't be able to stitch it. They would just have to leave it open and let it heal itself. And it did nick some of the muscles, so she was worried that if I was a dumbass. And I pushed the limits that I could potentially do more harm than good. So I followed the doctor's directions to the T and let it heal. And healed great. Stitches, scars minimal. Did a great job stitching it up. And since then I've been exercising. Back to normal. But, ish. So, I had to slow down for a little while, and then at home I had another accident and burnt my foot pretty bad. So I was slowed down even more on that note, which it's still 3-4 weeks later, it's still pretty bad. It was a pretty, yeah. But, and then after I got my stitches out, I thought I was going to be a rock star, get back to work in the gym, and no, I got sick for a couple weeks. So had 2 weeks of pretty shitty workouts, and slowing down and taking care of myself, which ends up being one of the biggest blessings. Because I started, I paid for a trainer, and we started a new workout routine. And the first week I was still sick. The first week of training was the second week of my cold. So I was still sick, and I didn't do well, and I was frustrated. And I couldn't go as heavy as I normally do. And again, it was, on the hindsight, just ends up being a reflection in prideful ways, and living in reality and being honest with myself. There's nothing wrong with being sick and having to throttle back a little bit. In physical fashion, I do enjoy pushing myself in the gym, but I also have to be smart and strategic. And I had to face the fact that I've accomplished some pretty amazing things. There's no doubt about that for a 48-year-old. But I'm 48 years old. There definitely are some limitations that come with that. Because I don't put on the muscle like I used to. I've ended up being very strong throughout all this, but I just haven't bulked up like I like. So now we're doing an intense session for a month to lean me out real good, and so I'm weak now. On top of that, I'm cutting, so that's making me weak. And it's been good. It's been good. Like I said, I think the takeaway is supposed to be that I need to slow down. You guys see me all over the country. You guys see me all the time going 500 miles an hour, doing a million things, active in everything. And since we're in the woods, I've just slowed down a lot. Stayed home, focused on my mental, emotional health. Really been working very intensely on my spiritual growth and getting reconnected with God, and trying to understand what that dude's telling me to do, and then do it. So I've been blessed. I think I'm on the right path. There's things keeps putting in my head, so I got a pretty intense list of stuff to accomplish that I need to do and take care of, and I've been knocking that out, doing what I can to right some wrongs to whatever degree that may or may not be worth. Trying to, through the injuries and some situations that happened, I'm learning to not be so hard on myself. It's okay to have great expectations. I'm learning about the balance between having extraordinary expectations of myself and being okay with not meeting them, learning the lesson from it, and coming back and attacking it again, without it affecting me negatively, emotionally, in terms of how I think and feel about myself. That's kind of a tough one. I've always had extremely high expectations for myself. Learning to laugh at myself. I've done some boneheaded things in the last couple months that normally I'd get annoyed with myself over, and I'd just laugh. And just put other people first, and go along with God's plan. So trying to get all this stuff sorted out of my head and my heart, and work towards what this dude's telling me to do, best I can interpret it. But I'm not perfect by any means. But God keeps sending me angels. And it's kind of crazy. Right before I hurt my leg, I had a little dude at the gym come up and fist bump me. And was like, he's like, keep killing it, Josh. You're doing great. I've never seen this kid before in my life. And it was one of those days I was down on myself, man. Like, I performed very well that day. But I hadn't met my unreasonable expectations. I was a little weak that day or something, and that happens. Some days you're strong, some days you're a little weak. A little weaker. And I got done running, and I was coming down the stairs, and the little dude just runs up and fist bumps me. I've never seen him before in my life. Don't know him at all. And I'm telling him thank you, and I'm standing there and all like shocked, and he just runs off, disappears, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. But so how quickly we forget, because I hurt myself and I got to slow down, and so now those old thoughts creep in of expectations and not meeting them. And yesterday I'm at the gym and I'm doing hanging leg raises, which I'm 6'1", 234 pounds, and I'm hanging from a bar and basically doing a reverse sit-up, where instead of laying on the ground and bringing my head up to my knees, I'm hanging from a bar trying to bring my knees up to my chest for a core exercise. And I can promise you, at 234 pounds, it's not that easy for me. Anyhow, I don't have enough practice. I'll get it. It won't beat me. But I'm in the middle of my third set, doing 15 reps, and I get to like number 8. So at this point, I've done 30, so I'm at 38. But I'll do 15, take a minute break, 15, take a minute break. Excuse me. And so I get to like 37, 38. Well, when I finished the second set, so when I finished number 30, I let go of the bar, and my hand, my entire body's so fatigued from everything else I had done. My hand literally, when I let go of the bar and brought it down, it cramped up. It restricted all my fingers. It was completely and totally involuntary. And it cramped up, and I'm literally for a minute, trying to massage everything, get the blood flowing, get my fingers working. This is how unreasonable my expectations are. My body is failing in a major, major way. I'm shaking. I'm completely and totally exhausted. But here I am with my unreasonable expectations and my I will not fail attitude. My timer goes off, so I hit my watch, jump back up there, and I can barely hold, like I'm getting ready to fall down. I can just barely hold on. My hands are so tired and fatigued. And I get to number 8, and I have to let go. There's just no strength left. So I get my legs to the ground, and I let go of the bar, and I'm standing, and my right hand cramps up again, and I'm thinking maybe I can do some stuff, but I literally have to take my left hand and work the fingers and make the right hand do something. And it kind of starts to half-ass work on its own again. Jump up, grab the bar, and now it grips the bar real tight involuntarily. And I have zero strength, but I can almost not let go of the bar now. So I have to freaking let go with my left hand and kind of pull my weight down to get my right hand to let go of the bar, and I just decide I have to go take a break. And so I go sit down, and I'm drenched in sweat, and it's affecting my watch. You know, my sleeve keeps touching my watch. And I always wear a hoodie because that's how I clock in. And I never am in t-shirts or shorts or anything. I'm always in a full sweat outfit. And for me, that's how I roll. That's my mental and emotional, spiritual sanctuary. I put the hoodie up, I block out the rest of the world, and I just get to work. But this is one of the very few times I roll my sleeves up because I'm sweating so much it's affecting my watch. And I go sit down on the bench, and there's a little homie sitting there, and I sit down, and like literally I'm so exhausted and fatigued, my whole body is convulsing. My hand still doesn't want to work, and I'm so frustrated with myself. I'm so disappointed, and I'm so embarrassed that I'm sitting in public convulsing from fatigue. And I get in my bag, and I'm trying to get the cap off of my shaker bottle and try to get the the tiny little cap off of the water bottle so I can make my protein shake. And I'm just hoping that this is like a Hail Mary thing where I can drink my protein shake and my body will respond positively to it, and I can finish my routine. And little dude's just sitting there watching me, man, like struggle so bad. And out of nowhere, never talked to this kid. I've seen him there, but I've never talked to him before. He's like, "You cutting, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's killing me. I'm dying over here." He goes, "Well, it's paying off, man. You look great. Keep up the good work." And then he just bounces on off, man. "Oh, thanks, homie." And as he's walking away, and I just think that, you know, God will send you the angels when you need them the most. Pretty amazing, you know. It was in that moment I had to realize that, sure, maybe I don't see the hard work paying off like others do, just like the cut. Maybe sometimes I don't see dangers like others do. And I got to trust feedback from people. I got to stop taking myself so seriously. I got to stop being so prideful. And just keep moving in faith and trusting God. So, yeah, that's been my last 45 days. I've been blessed, kicked, beaten, blessed, kicked, beaten, blessed, kicked, beaten, blessed, 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 blessed. And I've been open to receive his teachings. Thankfully, I have an amazing group. You know, my core 4 people that I talk to almost daily about growth and spiritual growth, mental, emotional, financial, whatever, just any goals that I have or that they have for growth, that, you know, we got each other's back. And you know, I'm just amazingly blessed with the conversations I have with them. The fact that I can go somewhere like the gym and people see how all my hard work over the last year and change has paid off. I also yesterday had someone approach me and compliment me on my physique and invite me to go train jiu-jitsu. I'm kind of thinking about that. I love boxing. I've always loved boxing. I don't know if I want to wrestle around or not, but I love combat sports as much as I love racing. So I might get into that too. Who knows? But yeah, at the end of the day, man, God is good, and I'm just going to keep trying to fix what I can in my life and move forward, and my story is just getting started. So you'll see something. I'm going to make another video about this, but I'll just give you, if you've made it this far, I guess I'll give you this little insight. I'm always going to live my life based around racing. I love it. Maybe not based around racing, but it's always going to be a huge part of my life, and it's going to be a huge part of this channel. But I'm also getting ready to make some changes to the channel and social media in general. I have a little bit, but I guess officially I'm going to start making it more about my lifestyle, my journey currently, and the things that I'm doing that don't necessarily specifically relate to just racing. So that may cause some of you to lose a little interest, maybe even a little more, but my faith is becoming a huge part of my life again, and I got a lot of really cool, exciting things on the horizon that I am working towards, that I want to share with all of you, because I want you to know that even a former scumbag like myself, who shouldn't be walking this earth, can turn their life around and be of service to God and others, and make something positive happen. And believe you me, if I can, anybody can. And I want to bring you guys with me on that journey, and hopefully help one or two people at minimum in my lifetime. So I'm going to start living with a lot of purpose and intentionality towards restoration. I got a lot to make up for in this world, and I want to bring all of you with me. So, you made it this far, thanks. I know this isn't like a super exciting video or whatever, but you saw some gory stuff. That was kind of cool, right? And we're going to have a lot more fun. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.